Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today we're going to be out here working on this 2014 Ford Fusion Titanium with the 2.0 Ecoboost. Now recently this car turned over 100,000 miles, and what we're going to be starting to do with this little series is doing preventative maintenance at say the 100,000 mile mark. Here recently we had a check engine light come on, which was a P144C engine code purge valve, and we're going to be replacing that. We're also going to be doing the spark plugs in the car. We're going to need to change the belt on the car, probably transmission fluid, antifreeze. Each little segment will be a video of each one of these things that I'm going to do to this car to do the preventative maintenance. So let's get started on the car and get these spark plugs changed out. Alrighty, so what we're going to be doing today in this video is actually changing the 4 spark plugs that are in this car. And when I went to the auto parts store to get the spark plugs, I was just going to get the original Motorcraft ones that replaced these with, but they were out of them, so I did a little upgrade and got these Autolite Iridium Ultra spark plugs. The model number on them are AI5863. You see that? And basically, what's the difference is in here, I don't know if you can see this, but this little bitty electrode that's inside this spark plug is supposed to be a fine wire, which is supposed to be a more controlled spark, make it more efficient when you ignite your fuel and all of that technical stuff that I know nothing about. But I'm putting these in there. Like I said, these are about $9 a piece, and there are 4 of them. We're going to be gapping them to 30 thousandths here in a little bit later. But what I'm going to do now is just show you how to get to your spark plugs and where they're at, and what size socket it is, and what we need to take apart to replace these spark plugs. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do is remove this cover that covers the engine, and all you have to do is just pull on it and it'll pop right off. One of the next things we're going to need to do is this, I'll call it the air duct that's coming from the air filter box into the intake. There's just a little plastic ductwork here. We have to remove that. Basically, there has these, use your flathead screwdriver, standard screwdriver, loosen these clamps up. I've already loosened up this clamp. We also have a little bolt right here, which is a 13 millimeter. Probably have to have a deep well 13 millimeter socket. You're going to take that little screw out, set it to the side. We also have a line that runs up from your purge valve, and basically it connects into this ductwork here. You're just going to squeeze it, pull it out, pop it out. Just going to kind of set it to the side, and basically we just pull this apart, and this will just slide right off. So the next thing we're going to have to do is, across the top we have 4 coil packs. We're going to have to remove the coil packs, which the spark plugs are below it. That's going to take an 8 millimeter socket. There's 4 screws that hold it in each one. And then we also have 4 plugs for the coil packs. We just want to push them down and slide them out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change 1 spark plug here and show you how to do it, and then I'll go off camera and change the rest of them real quick. Alright, so I've already went and gone ahead and gapped my spark plugs to 30 thousandths. You can get these little spark plug gapping tools at AutoZone for like $1 or so. So what we're going to do first is I'm just going to remove this first coil pack right here. And this is a, looks like a 5/16 little the ones on this end and the far end kind of look like this. They have this extra little threaded part at the top, and that's for just a retaining clip that holds the wiring harness down. That's all that's for. So I'm just going to set that to the side, and I'm basically just going to try to easily pull this out. So that right there is our coil pack. I'm just looking at it, looks pretty good. So now, when you're doing this, you kind of want to be real gentle in what you're doing. You don't want to drop anything down in that hole. So just be real careful. Make sure the area is clean before you go and start trying to remove this spark plug. And this spark plug is a 5/8. And it's coming right out pretty easily. Now, like I said, this engine has over 100,000 miles, and I've never pulled these spark plugs out, so we're going to see just how much the spark plug is worn down in that 100,000 miles. All right, here it is. So if you can see that, it actually looks really well. It does look like that is a very fine wire electrode in this spark plug, I guess is the correct terminology. But overall, it's a pretty clean spark plug. There's no oil on it. There's not a lot of the gunk or anything like that on there. So that's, looks like we got a little around the top of the spark plug up here. Looks like we got some heat that's been built up over a long time, but we're gonna stick a new one in there. When it comes to spark plugs, what I like to do is put a little of the anti-seize on the threads, so that way if I have to go back later on and remove the spark plugs, they're not seized up in the head there. And being that this engine is probably aluminum, you don't want that. So what I did is I just bought just a little packet here because I'm not at home. And basically I'm just gonna put a little on it like this. And I just like to smear it around. Not getting too crazy with it, but I want enough on it to keep it from seizing up. All right, so now I got this spark plug popped back down in this wrench. We're just going, usually when I'm trying to get a spark plug started, I just try to do it free-handed, so that way I can make sure I'm not cross-threading these threads. You don't want to do that. If you're putting these spark plugs in and you start, if it's a lot of resistance, you stop right there, because if you keep going, you're going to tear up the threads on the inside of this head, and then you're going to have a major problem. So I like to kind of tighten it down as far as I can with my hand, and that just lets me know that the threads are good. When it comes to tightening them, same thing. You don't have to tighten these down. There's probably a certain torque that these are supposed to be at, but like I said, I'm not at home, so I don't have a torque wrench on me. So all I'm going to do is just snug it up just a little bit. And that'll be it. Now that we got our spark plug back down in there, we're just going to take our coil pack. I've inspected it. It looks really good. It's not dried out or cracked or anything. I'm just going to pop this back down. Put our bolt back in there. Plug it back in. And that's one spark plug out of the 4 that we're gonna do. I'll do these other 3 off camera, and then I'll come back after it's all put back together. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I have all the spark plugs replaced, all the coil packs are back in. I've plugged in 2 of the wires to the coil pack. Here's my 3rd one, and the 4th one. What we're gonna do now is put this, I'll call it ductwork back on here, connecting this intake back to this air filter box. Basically, it just slides on there. Tighten it up with our screwdriver. You don't have to get all crazy with them. Tighten them up till they feel kind of tight. We have this one bolt we need to put in here. I said it's a 1/2 or 13 millimeter. Just gonna snug it up. Connect up our line back from our purge valve, like that. We have one more to clamp to tighten up down here by the air cleaner, air filter box, whatever you want to call it. I know if I'm wrong, you will comment down below. Just double checking all my fittings and my plugs, make sure everything's done right. Sure that's secure, and that should be it on the spark plugs. All right, so that's going to be all for this video today. And what we did was we basically just changed all 4 spark plugs on the engine. What we're going to be doing in the next video is we're going to be replacing the purge valve, and that is a P144C engine code. Now, if you go to AutoZone and they scan your car, they're not going to be able to tell you what's wrong with it because it's a dealership specific code. Now, I googled the code and it brought up a ton of videos on how to replace these purge valves. We're going to be doing that in the next video. Then after that, we're going to start replacing the fluids in the car. I want to replace the oil and the filter with some, I'm going to go with a bunch of AMSOIL products to test this stuff out and see if it's what everybody says it is. So we're going to replace the oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid, and then we're going to be replacing the serpentine belt that's on this car. So we have a bunch of things that need to be done at 100,000 miles, and that's what this series is about, is replacing all these products or these wear and tear items when we hit 100,000 miles. So if you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to have more on this car in the future. We've got some other stuff I'm trying to get worked up and doing. Also share the video and comment down below if there's something that you've worked on one of these cars in the past, or I've done something wrong, or I've named something wrong. Just comment down below, because every time you comment, that helps these videos get put in the YouTube's feed and be recommended for other people to watch. So y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.